Right guys, it's that time of the week and we are back for some more championship transfer rumours. We've got plenty to dive into today. But a massive thank you before we do jump into anything, because we recently hit 50,000 subscribers on the channel. Honestly, the support recently has been absolutely mega from you guys, and it absolutely does not go unnoticed from me. So worth mentioning as well, if you're not subscribed already, make sure to go ahead and do that. Around 79% of people who are watching the channel at the moment aren't subscribed, so do hit that button, it would help me out loads. But as is often the case with the championship, we've got plenty to go over today. Swansea City have agreed a deal to sign Dane Inoussa. They've not been messing about going into this summer transfer window, have they? This one's subject to international clearance, but for all intents and purposes has been completed. The 22-year-old is coming over from Sweden, where he's got a pretty good record. In the calendar year of 2025, he's played 13 matches, has 5 goals and 4 assists. Looks like a lively player that likes to cut inside from that left-hand side. Still just 22 years old as well, so is someone that they can look to develop. We've had confirmation coming out from Peterborough that Poku has indeed been released and is set to leave the club upon his contract expiring at the end of June. And it's now being reported that Birmingham are really going to be pushing to complete that deal as soon as possible, obviously. Quite a few championship clubs have been linked with the tricky winger in recent months, but Birmingham, more so than others, seem to be the club that are leading the race for his signature right now. Now, while he is available technically on a free transfer, any club that does sign Poku will have to pay compensation to Peterborough because of the player's age. On the video from a couple of weeks ago, we discussed the rumour that Birmingham were prepared to offer the winger 30 grand a week to join up with them. We'll have to wait and see if they do push the boat out that much, but there's definitely a lot of interest from Birmingham there. Another player that Birmingham hold an interest in is West Brom's Tom Fellows. Now, this one would be a seriously impressive bit of business if they were able to pull it off. Now, Birmingham certainly aren't alone in their admiration of the 21-year-old. You've also got Everton, who have been linked with him in the last few weeks and months, and Southampton as well. Their interest in Fellows dates back to last summer. Listen, he's coming off the back of a really good season with West Brom. 4 goals, 14 assists in the Championship. One of the best creative outlets in the EFL last season. He had an absolute blinder on the last game of the season against Luton as well, didn't he? Scored a brace in that game and also set up a goal. The good news for West Brom is that he is on a decent contract until 2027, and so they still have quite a bit of bargaining power when dictating his value, and the fact that there are some Premier League sides interested, that will definitely bring up his overall valuation. But every player has their price, and it'll be interesting to see what does happen with Fellows over these next few weeks and months. Another player that Birmingham are being linked to right now is Bournemouth shot stopper Mark Travers. It seems more than likely that he'll be on the move this summer, but where's he going to end up? It's currently up for debate. He obviously spent the second half of the season on loan with Middlesbrough. It's been claimed by local press at Borough that they're going to be monitoring his situation quite closely, and people at the club would love to bring him back on a permanent basis, although the potential finances involved in that deal could make things tricky for Middlesbrough. It's been speculated that Bournemouth's potential asking price would be a little bit too much for Middlesbrough. Whether that's the case for Birmingham, though, it remains to be seen. It's already been claimed in the press that Birmingham are going to have a really big budget coming into this summer, potentially almost on par with some of the parachute teams coming down from the Premier League. So if they are looking for a reliable and top Championship shot stopper, you could see why there would be interest in someone like Travers. The latest striker being linked with Leeds United right now is Beto from Everton. Listen, Leeds are going to be linked with a whole host of number 9s over these next few weeks and months. In recent videos, we've spoken about their links to the likes of Troy Parrott, Cameron Archer. There's been countless strikers and number 9s that they've been linked to recently, but Beto's the latest name being thrown about. It's also been claimed that Leeds United will have a budget of anywhere from 100 million to 150 million this season to try and revamp that squad for the Premier League and try and make them as competitive as possible. Speaking of Leeds United, it's no secret that they want to make Manor Solomon a permanent Leeds player going into next season. The Spurs loanee has been one of their outstanding players. 10 goals and 12 assists in the Championship this season, while his spells previously in the Premier League haven't exactly been that successful. He's never really been given much of a chance at the top flight level. The news that Leeds fans won't want to hear, though, is that they do face a bit of competition for his signature. According to reports coming out of France, Marseille are also interested in the 25-year-old. And as is often the case when there is a bit of interest from multiple clubs in one player, that can drive his price up. Now, Spurs are open to selling him this summer, but where he goes still remains up in the air. Junior Firpo's coming off the back of probably his best ever season at Leeds United, but with his contract set to expire, he is available on a free transfer this summer. It had been thought that a move back to Spain was probably his most likely option. That was certainly the case a few weeks ago, but since since then, a handful of Premier League clubs have entered the race to sign him. You've got the likes of Everton, West Ham and Crystal Palace who have all been linked in recent days, and for Leeds, to lose him to a fellow Premier League rival would be a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, especially on a free transfer. After 7 years at Preston North End, we have now had official confirmation that Ryan Ledson will be leaving the club this summer. There has been a bit of Championship interest in him previously, going back to the January window. Portsmouth were one of the clubs who were sniffing around, so it'll be interesting to see if they resurface that interest with the midfielder now available on a free transfer. You've got Oxford fans, I've seen quite a few of them on social media, wondering whether he'd go back there. That's definitely a possibility. Or there's potential that Ledson could drop down to League One, in which case a move to someone like Wigan Athletic definitely could be on the cards, potentially a bit of a reunion there with former Preston boss Ryan Lowe. He'll have a few options this summer, Ledson, for sure, but will be interesting to see where he ends up. Speaking of Preston North End though, some good news is that we've reportedly agreed a deal in principle to bring Daniel Iversen back to the club, this time on a permanent basis. His contract with Leicester City is up at the end of the season, and with the goalkeeper looking to go somewhere where he'll get regular first team action, this seems like it could be a match made in heaven. Now Preston North End fans are already very familiar with Daniel Iversen. He's already had a couple of years on loan with us. Granted, he's not played that much football over the past couple of seasons. Last year he spent the second half of the season out on loan with Stoke, and this season he's not played whatsoever, so not ideal. But from Iverson's perspective, he's 27 years old now, he'll want to be playing regularly, and Preston fans have seen, firsthand just how good he can be at Championship level. Certainly with Freddie Woodman moving on, I think most North End fans would agree Iversen is an obvious upgrade on Woodman, certainly when it comes to just shot stopping. There was always a bit of a question mark while we had him on loan that his distribution and playing out from the back wasn't the best, but just in terms of a pure shot stopper, I think this one would be a brilliant deal from North End if we do indeed manage to get it over the line. And I think most Preston and Millwall fans were expecting there to be more interest in Charlton Athletic's Thierry Small. Now, for the past few months, both Preston and Millwall have been tracking the Charlton fullback, but over the past few days, we've had a few more Championship clubs throwing their hat in the ring as interested. We've now got the likes of Blackburn, Derby and Oxford who are all keeping tabs on his situation. Now, any potential negotiations with Small obviously will be put on the back burner for the time being, with Charlton preparing for the League One playoffs. But with the player out of contract at the end of the season and having yet to commit his long-term future to Charlton, he would be a very attractive player to a number of Championship teams. It does feel like Millwall have an advantage here, certainly if the player doesn't want to massively relocate. But with plenty of Championship clubs interested, it could very well come down to whoever offers him the most attractive package. After recently being named as the Championship Young Player of the Season, the interest in Jobe Bellingham is definitely going to start ramping up over these next few weeks now, in a similar scenario to Small. Any potential links going to Bellingham right now are going to be put on the back burner. Sunderland will have their full focus on the playoffs, and Bellingham as well. I don't think he'll be thinking too much into his long-term future at this stage, but in the eventuality that Sunderland aren't promoted to the Premier League, I think it is probably quite unlikely that he'll still be playing at the Stadium of Light next season in the Championship. With so many clubs interested right now, it does feel like a bit of a bidding war is on the horizon. Now, we've had a number of Premier League clubs that have been linked with Bellingham over these past few weeks and months now, but the real interest at the moment seems to be coming from Germany. According to recent reports, he's top of Borussia Dortmund's shopping list for the summer, but they're set to be rivaled by RB Leipzig, who are also really keen to snap up the youngster as well. Now, all of this could be used to Sunderland's advantage with how many sides are going to be interested, both domestically and abroad. That will naturally drive up the price tag. But like I say, for Sunderland at the moment, their full focus has to be going into the playoffs. And another promising midfielder who could be leaving the Championship this summer is Middlesbrough's Hayden Hackney. It's been reported that Porto are expected to revisit their interest in the midfielder, obviously. Tried to sign him back in January, nothing came through on that in the end. But when you're a club like Middlesbrough, you don't have parachute payments. These are the sort of sales you need to make to keep the money churning, obviously. They made a big sale going back to January when they let go of Latte Lath. Hackney, definitely one of their most saleable assets at the moment, and he definitely cost a pretty penny, especially considering he's still got a couple of years to run on his contract. It's not just Porto who have been monitoring his situation though. Spurs have also been linked, and Stuttgart, another club who reportedly like the look of the midfielder as well. So a fair few from around Europe there who are all eyeing up Hackney right now. We'll have to wait and see who goes in with an official offer first. But that will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, if you've seen any other rumours going about that we didn't mention in today's video, do get them in the comments down below, and I'll try to give them a mention in next time's video. But apart from that, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.